Hello everyone. Welcome to this reading. So today you're going to be getting a reading in regards to finding purpose and meaning in life. So this could relate to now, it could relate to your whole life. We'll see what information comes through. I don't want to channel it into anything specific besides the theme being meaning. And this is about you finding your meaning or your purpose, not about someone telling you, even though I'll be doing the reading, of course, but it's for you to take what information really resonates with you and apply that to your life in a way that you can start heading towards goals that are fulfilling to you. Okay, so as usual, we're going to use this deck. This is one of my favorites and a really good Pickacard kind of card to come through, right? It's got a bit of oracle kind of messages and a crystal. Okay. So pile one. I'm going to take this one as well. These had a really good shuffle, so let's see what comes out. Pile three. Before I flip them, I'll just let you know that this video will come out a day late because I was away at a birthday party for a 1-year-old. So I was away for the weekend. Okay, so pile 1, 2, 3. Let's have a look at your card, pile 1. You have Goddess Matangi and Heliotrope. Already there is value. So this is what your card looks like. Crystal Goddess 888. For pile 2, you have Goddess Kali and Black Obsidian, Sacred Revolution. Crystal 888, and this is what your card looks like. Okay. And for pile 3, you have Archangel Adnachiel and Tiger's Eye. Tiger Spirit Rises. This crystal angel is 444. And here is your card. Alright. So these will be your 3 piles. Pick whichever one's calling to you, or if you want to watch multiple, feel free to do that too. Down below, I'll put the timestamp so you can jump immediately to the video that you choose. Other than that, I'll leave you there and enjoy your reading today. Welcome, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So just before, I listen to music while I do these readings, just very lightly in the background. It really does kind of like keep my energy flowing somehow. I don't know how it works, right? But it just feels good. And the song playing was that one, I'll live my day as if it was the last, you know, all night, all summer, doing it the way I wanna, you know, that kind of, I'm not a singer. You didn't come here for that. But you know, that kind of like just going for it, right? There already is value is your card, Goddess Matangi and Heliotrope. I don't know Matangi too much, but I know that this is I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, because to me Matangi is very like it sounds like a New Zealand traditional Māori word, which is part of my heritage, but I'm pretty sure it's actually like maybe in like India somewhere, like that kind of region of where this goddess has originated, and heliotrope. But anyway, the real message here is there is value is really speaking to, maybe you don't have everything in the world, right? But you have enough to be able to start making headway towards the goals that you want to reach. And I feel like that's exactly what this is. The card looks incredibly complex, like incredibly diverse rather than complex. So it doesn't feel difficult, it just feels like there's a lot here, a lot going on with like the light, the shadows, the kind of stars, the patterns here. It's all very like busy, I want to say. And kind of like multicultural, I guess, is also another aspect of this. So I don't know if there's some part of you that really wants to go traveling, and it's like putting it off or something like that. Just go for it, I would say. Maybe that's not like your life purpose is travel, right? But there's something there that there's some kind of experience that will play out. Sometimes even with myself going to a particular country, I thought it was going to change everything, right? And I just got to see how people lived, and so it wasn't exactly what I thought, but I get a lot of information of what I enjoyed and what I what kind of people and cultures are out there. So this could be something like that. I assumed it was going to be a particular way, and it wasn't, and that's life, right? We can assume what's going to happen, positive or negative, and what really happens isn't always what we think. And that's just because life has so many different twists and turns that could happen, especially with everyone having free will, and there's billions of us out there, right? Okay. So, interesting card to come out first. So this is all about finding meaning and purpose, which is a very serious kind of feeling in this reading, in the decks that have been chosen. It still feels true, but it also feels like not taking everything so seriously or in such a heavy way. And I feel like that's part of this pile, and I don't know what part you're at with how you take certain aspects of life, but it's okay to review and shift your feelings in different directions towards that particular aspect of life, right? Great card to pick at the start, though. Having what you need to get what you want, or what you want to feel or experience, is a great position to be. Or even if you're working towards being in that stable position. I will say, though, sometimes we get stuck in a cycle of, well, maybe I need more and more and more, and then we get to a certain part of our life and be like, oh, I could have done that back then, but I didn't because I don't know, It's okay to just stop and think about these things. Okay. So I did give these a good shuffle before. I'm just doing it a bit slowly today. I'm gonna take two actually. This one kind of tried to slip away, but I think there's a message there for someone. The thing with finding meaning and purpose in life is that it always, in my mind anyway, has to come from you. People will provide options, let's say, or tell you you're good at XYZ, and those are great. But essentially, you will pick what you decide is right for you in the end. And sometimes that can be hard because we want to blame the past or someone else or a society or a people or the government, whatever it is. And there may be some truth to that. However, they might be able to dictate some things, but you decide if they dictate your mind and choices that you make. Take these three, I think. Okay, and the last Starseed card. What's this one? Okay, let's take a look at your cards, part one. So you also have Raphael with Rebirth. Very interesting. I did on my Instagram, I put up a card of the week, and this was actually the card of the week. So interesting, it's come out first in your reading as well. So Raphael with Rebirth. This is definitely about making a shift and change, because life is always going to have many different things that it throws at us, and we have full control of how we respond. Always how we respond. Do we have full control over the situation and what's going to happen? Probably not. In some cases we may have more or less, but we always have control over how we respond. This is a nice one though. It feels like a rebirth. This is a change in either direction or change of mindset or change in belief. Start to release old negative feelings or things that hold us back. It's very much a shift. The menorah here is also, as they light, they burn away. I'm not sure if this is traditionally true, but just the way it's feeling is like, as it's lit and snuffed out, it burns away, the negative thoughts or feelings or energies that we may hold on to or that are around us. And, it releases it essentially. I like that the sun's here. It's always about finding purpose and happiness, right? Especially this is a purpose-driven reading or fulfillment or meaning of life. And you can study as much as you can and do before coming into this life, but there's nothing really like experiencing it firsthand. I could study like the dynamics of a bungee jump, right? Or people's testimonies of how fun it was, but I can't really feel it until I go do it. And so that may be how you popped into this world. You're like, I'm just going to go experience it. It's probably a good time to do that. And people might disagree with like, oh, but it's terrible time, blah, blah, blah. But that's what people were saying all the way since like thousands of years ago, saying it's always the worst. It's always different. And if we look back at some of those times, they were not great. Some of those had like huge wars in many different countries. Plagues and all sorts of different things, right? So we're always going to have certain opinions, but this is really about shifting and changing that and experiencing something. So maybe there is something you want to go do. I was thinking of like travel or something like that with that card, and this is about a change from one state to the next. All right, so you've got the pig spirit, use your mind wisely. Interesting that it came through reverse. I'm going to flip it up because I feel like it's both. It's not necessarily like a hard flip or a hard upright, but use your mind wisely really is about not poo-pooing some of your good thoughts and feelings, not letting other people do that either. Not that you can change if someone's going to say something about it, but you don't have to take value or weight in what someone else says if it doesn't resonate with you. It's your choice. Can be hard, right? Sometimes we want to be around certain people less and, do what you feel is right with that. But really with use your mind wisely is about just slowing down, taking time and considering what are my core beliefs? What are beliefs that are valuable in this moment in life? What were valuable a long time ago and no longer are? And what do I need to shift so I can not really prepare, but live now and experience whatever comes in the future. Be in a good position to experience what comes in the future. Also, pigs have many different meanings, but they can be like lucky, right? They have like having what you need, especially here, there already is value. You already are putting in value in what you do in life as well. That's also a big part of this. I didn't really touch on that, but you are doing what you need to do in life, essentially. That's how this card comes through as well. Okay, so you also have a Rhino Spirit with overcome any obstacles. So I feel like with the pig, I am going to leave this one reversed, but with the pig also coming through reverse in this, it's almost like the ego is saying you can't do this before you've even got all the information or thought about what you want to do. You already have what you need to go do something or begin something or create something. Make that difficult phone call or that conversation with the boss, but but it's like it leads to something good. It's not like you're just setting yourself up for anguish. It's like you're setting yourself up to have a conversation with self or some other people or whatever. You have an idea, like an intelligent idea, but you're almost like, well, it'll only happen when pigs fly, and the obstacles are too difficult to overcome. This needs to be like addressed. How can I word this? One opportunity or option is to write things down. Because when you're saying this is impossible and then you look at it on a bit of paper and you think, well, it's not really. It's just that's what I've told myself for so long that I've believed it. And what you believe is true, right? If you believe the sky is falling and you can kind of think of evidence or something of it, then you'll believe it's always falling, like it keeps falling, regardless of what anyone else says, especially if you don't take in consideration of what they're saying. You're like, no, it's falling. I know it's falling. You know what I mean? It gets into that mindset of like, I've always been sick. I will always be sick. I will always have this issue with my legs. No one can tell me otherwise. I've been to all the doctors. No one can tell me. This is about shifting out of that kind of fixed mindset mentality, which is why the pig is use your mind wisely. And I think it came out reversed, probably a little bit of like a poke, jab, but I think you are actually moving a lot of the stuff around. So good work with that as well. You've got the new moon, creation, intention, and potential. Absolutely. We already talked about that. You also have Mercury. This is what I was talking about, communication. I don't know if this needs to be you expressing yourself in some way or you communicating with a partner, work colleague, boss, self, whatever it is, there's something you need to get out. Needs to get off your chest, and it's going to lead to what you want anyway, so why not do it? It's almost like I'm disappointed or uncomfortable in where I am. And I'm not saying you are, but it's just, this is an example. It's like, I'm disappointed in where I am. And then here's like an opportunity and you step towards it and it's like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And you go back, but it doesn't feel right. Is it because it actually doesn't like resonate? Or is it because it's different and you're so used to this that you would rather step back than potentially go into the unknown? Ooh, okay. Got psyche or psych, soul, consciousness, and mind. Soul, consciousness, and mind. I'm gonna say this. I feel like a big part of your life, not really telling you what it is, but like part of finding purpose is to experience a few different things. You're not here to master one skill and that's it, right? Fine for others if that's their purpose, but it doesn't feel like this is exactly yours. Yours is kind of like you'd rather have it like a smorgasbord of little things, and that's exciting, which I think is quite cool. I think your soul is kind of coming through here to just remind you of like, there's life purpose and there's soul purpose, and they don't have to be conflicting. If you want to shift and change stuff, your higher self, your guides, all that are really going to guide you in the direction that you want to head in. So start making the mindset changes, the heart changes, the direction changes that you want to make. You're the person, you're the soul down here. You're the being in the body. So they will honor that in some sense, is what I mean. They agree and will honor that. So they'll keep guiding you to make those expressions of interest, have that conversation, make those changes in the house that you want to make to really feel like this is your space and your energy in here, all that kind of stuff. All right, let's have a look at the rest of the cards. So you've got the Nine of Swords. Yeah, tricky. Got the Page of Cups. I do like that one. Again, this flying pig. It's almost like you'd rather have an argument, I don't know, with me or with someone to defend a position. It's almost like you don't know what it was like growing up with this person or that or my life or anything like that. And absolutely, no one knows what anyone else's life is exactly like. Sometimes we forget some of the stuff in our past, right? So we don't even know exactly our full life. We forget. But look, really, this is about giving it a voice and giving it an option to speak. You might even want to do some automatic writing about this. I think that's a really good idea. I always think it's a good idea, but never do it because I don't know, just lazy. But you don't have to be me, and you can start like helping yourself really with this, because otherwise you don't want to sit in this perpetual state of Nine of Swords. It's not necessarily a bad place. It's just a place to sit when there's lots going on, and it's better to sit there and then take take a deep breath and start to really look at everything rather than just not doing anything about it. And that can be the shadow, is not doing anything about it and letting them just roll around in your head. But it's also an opportunity to grab a sword and like not really cut them up, but just like kind of separate the ball of like worry into the individual parts, and then it's easier to eat a slice of pizza than it is to shove the whole thing in your mouth, unless you have a massive mouth. But you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. Yeah, give yourself some time. You are not on a speed run in any means. Even if Mercury is coming in whizzing around the sun, this is really a time to consider and think. What's important to me? What was important to me as a child? What was important to me in the past? Is that still important to me now? A lot of contemplating, writing things down. Give yourself even like 30 minutes a day to just write some things down. Do some automatic writing. It can be a little tricky if we're stuck in ego, or if we're like sitting in the Nine of Swords. There's no point doing meditation stuff, because I mean, not really no point, but it's harder to get like the information out, do a card reading. Automatic write. It's fine to like sit and just take deep breaths. That's a great thing, doing like breath work and things like that. But you have to find your own path with that. No one can tell you this is the best way of doing it. That's more like a sales pitch, right? Got to find your own way with it. I was going to say something else, but I think it's gone, and I think that's okay. Got the strength card. Excuse me. So you've got the strength card as well. Interesting that it's a sheep. The sheep always reminds me of someone who follows, right? There's the flock, as they call it in some kind of like religious circles. This is your flock. You're here to guide them. And shepherds are here to guide, but the individual sheep are still individuals as well. And I think this part is kind of like, she's an interesting sheep. Sounds weird saying, but she's like an interesting sheep because she's gained knowledge, right? It feels like she's gained knowledge, she's gained wisdom, and she actually has stepped into a position of being a leader, or being a person who has power and is claiming back their power. And this is what all this is about, claiming back your power from ego, from other people, from wherever you've put it and left it, and getting it back into yourself and starting to have that conversation with yourself. Because you already have, I feel like with this, it's either you already have the mental capacity, or you already have the emotional capacity, or you already have the material capacity to be able to start. Doesn't mean you can just go do everything along the line. It's just like starting to take the steps towards the goal. Lovely. You've got the Wheel of Fortune. This is all about change. It's all about shifts and change and things that pop up, and it's like, yeah, but what's going to happen? Live it. It has to be experienced. Again, back to the bungee jumping thing. It has to be experienced. You have to experience it. You have to go take that leap of faith, essentially. That's how the wheel keeps turning. Otherwise it stops, and then it's just sitting until you've decided to spin the wheel. Certain things will keep changing externally, right? But do we want to be participatory? Do we want to go in our own direction? It's all questions for you. Oh wow, so you've got the Strength card, Wheel of Fortune, and Magician, and Hermit in this deck. So you've got a lot of mages coming through. But yeah, again, this is the last card, and everything is within your capability and power. You are only limited by your belief. You're limited by your own belief. With these pigs flying around. If you believe it's not possible, then it's not possible. It really isn't. But if you believe it's possible, it is possible. No, I'm not saying just anything in life, but usually the things that you're called to or drawn towards. Because I'm having like a lot of throat things, I usually feel like that's a sign of speaking truth, speaking reason, expressing yourself. And what a good card to get as a final card. There's no rush though. Take your time with it. After the reading, you don't have to like rush off and do anything. Just go, live life. All right, and so you have guidance. It says, you are not alone. You are guided by masters and teachers of the highest realms. These will be your spirit guides, the ones you call in. Sometimes people work with different ascended masters, deities, whatever you feel comfortable with communicating, connecting with, go forward with that. But just know you're not alone. Even if there is like this solitary hermit, you're really talking to, you always have your body, right? You have parts of your body. I've done readings where you can connect and kind of like talk to an aspect of your body. If you're having a lot of leg issues, or talk to your legs, that kind of thing. It's not limited by anything other than whatever is popping up in your head. And no one needs to tell you what's like this or that or the other, especially when it's about your own feelings and your own mind and your own body. Okay, so to sum it up, what is the meaning or purpose in this life? Or how can you find meaning and purpose in this life? It's really about sitting down with yourself. The Mercury centering, this is all about correspondence, communication with yourself. Even the Page of Cups is like a communication. It's like a love letter sometimes as well. It's like a love letter to yourself, or bringing back like childlike energy or inner child energy. This isn't healing necessarily. It's like play energy, just to see what really is worth your energy and time. It doesn't have to be grand either. I remember someone saying that their purpose in life was to walk their dog every night as part of their purpose. And it's because they get to have that connection, and they have that space to just take in the air and be, and let their mind kind of like not be all knotted up. It's kind of like a meditation in a sense, but it's like active. It's finding meaning throughout the day rather than in seeing everything in your entire life from death to birth. It's about, what about right now? Because all you have is right now. The past is past, the future hasn't happened. You have today, you have this moment, you have this second that constantly moves forward. But you absolutely can overcome any obstacles. Do not let anyone tell you cannot do this or anything like that. That'll just delay you. You'll come back to it anyway and probably do it, and then maybe want to blame them, but you made that choice, right? Just because someone tells you not to do something doesn't mean that they will have authority over you. All right, lots of things here to consider. Of course, if you have your questions, let me know in the comments below. But thank you very much, pile number one. Take care of yourself. Good luck with all this. This looks really, really exciting, honestly. I felt like this was going to be the fun party, kind of like vibe reading. And while it has its ups and downs, right, that's life. So anyway, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, pile number 2. So you've chosen Goddess Kali and the Black Obsidian with Sacred Revolution. What a wild energy card coming through that you've chosen today in regards to your purpose and finding purpose and finding meaning in life. Interesting with Goddess Kali. If you don't know too much about Kali, I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but definitely if you work with her and certain things, she will shake things up. And it's because sometimes things need to be shaken up so we can see them all lying down. It's like it's not like a tower exactly, but it can be like let's throw everything out onto the floor so we can see it. You know how in hoarders' houses they pull everything out onto the lawn and have it set up on tables so you can visually see everything. This is about seeing that. That can be really hard for some people. But then even with the Black Obsidian, it's very like forceful kind of energy, how it's been created. Like the black glass obsidian is boosted out or like fired out, I don't know how to word it, but fired out of a volcano, and then it cools very, 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 very quickly. So it's like whatever, has been spewed out, let's say, freezing, or not freezing, but cooling very quickly. And then that's why it has that gloss and shine, because it's so fast. But it's also a violent kind of like creation, right? So there's a lot of taking care or absorbing or sucking out a whole lot of energy that's toxic or that no longer needs to be there. And that's why this can be a challenge. But the Sacred Revolution is this is something that's worthwhile. You're here to do either something that is like cleansing or clearing or taking away a lot of karma from wherever you've decided to bring it into. You know, you've decided this certain aspects of life. So, and now it's like, what do you do with that? What are you cycling with that needs to be broken or shifted out? So, interesting card to come through first. Okay. But a revolution is about being participatory in a change, being the person who decides that this is no longer a cycle that I want my family, like I'm not going to continue the cycle of toxic men or women in my family, right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this person was abused by this gender, you know, through my great-grandparents, parents, you know, constantly just abuse or whatever. You know, you're here to break a cycle. Potentially even in that kind of scenario, or something just different. Sometimes what people do can tell you a story, but also what they don't do can tell you a lot about them as well. Okay, so finding purpose or meaning in life. Oh, that one really wants to come through. Okay. Okay, and we'll grab some of these. Whoa. Alright. That one definitely wants to come out. I don't know if I actually glimpsed it, but it may be the death card, which is about like that death and rebirth, like that change, right? But we'll see what actually comes through. I didn't get a good look at it. But if it's coming up with that in my mind, that doesn't mean that's necessarily going to be the card, but it really does really talk about this shift and change. Something needs to change, or something needs to be looked at to be changed. No longer can it be just sitting there. I think you want to come through too, so we'll grab 2 of those. I'll try to fit them in when they come up, but I'll show you the cards regardless. Oh yeah, we can probably just do that. Okay, let's take a look at your cards today, Pile 2. Okay, so you've got Carmael with the Justice. This is in Mars too. There's definitely, like, it's almost like a, what are those people called? Resistance, partisans, you know, no longer putting up with what they've been given or been told they are or who they are. It's like making a decision to stand up and kind of like fight for what is right for you. And fighting doesn't necessarily mean like vandalizing or attacking. It's just like, you know, this could be all done with words and making sure that you are getting exactly what you want. Taking ownership, taking responsibility, and taking charge. So it's also about doing what's right. There is justice here. This is about what's right. Okay, so you've got the Chameleon Spirit, act as if. It's always an interesting card to get. I always forget like what the book necessarily says. However, readings aren't always about reading a book, right? They're about feelings and that kind of thing. And the first thing that kind of came through is, you know, sometimes there's a time to fit in and sometimes there's a time to not fit in. And just because you thought you had to fit in to be who you are now doesn't mean that that's going to help you in the future. May have helped you get to where you needed to be. But, you know, this one, chameleons kind of like blend into their environment. There might be a part of this where you are more of a, you know, follower, but I feel like there's something else that's more of like the action, the standing up and moving forward. You know, Mars is like a powerful force, and we can think of it in negative terms of like war. We can also see it as taking action, taking charge, and being heard, right? Being seen. So act as if. It's almost like when you manifest, and it's like, you know, you visualize you having it. You're acting as if you already have it. Something like that. Alright, so you also have the cat spirit. Interesting. Sorry, my voice is cracking out there. Interestingly enough, the cat spirit here is claim your independence. And that's exactly what this is all about. And it is reversed. So it might be kind of like poking at you a little bit to be like, hey, you can have this, you can move forward. And I kind of like the idea in this deck with cats, because, you know, there's always an argument of like cats are better than dogs, dogs better than cats, whatever. Regardless, it's a moot point. It doesn't even matter. It's not a thing really. You can kind of like be who you want to be or like what you like, right? Doesn't mean you have to argue with someone about it. And I think that's where it's just like living truth rather than trying to explain who you are to other people to get validation from other people. Who cares what they think? Really, who cares? Claiming independence here, but what I was actually alluding to with the cat is like a cat doesn't really necessarily try to always be everyone's best friend like you know, other pets might be. So it really kind of is like going your own way with it. You're not trying to impress or put a narrative of who you are with someone. You're here to be you. That's part of your purpose. You're also here to clear some crap too. And this might be part of it. Clearing some of this heavy stuff might be just stepping up and saying what you mean as well. So that's an opportunity. I think I may read the book for this. Because while I was thinking about it, then I was like, no, you can actually read it. And I'm like, okay. I just want to see what they say about it being reversed, because I think it will help or touch on something with other people. Also, a really pretty card, little wings and headdress. Gives it that, like, I don't know, like, there's like some kind of Native American tribe and Egyptian, I guess, a little bit. It's just an interesting card. But anyway, this one says, there may be a time you are facing some unpredictable situations. Are you hesitant to take a risk or too cautious to jump into something new because you fear you can't trust yourself? Cat Spirit says, go for it. I mean, here's the material. Because you will land on your feet. If nothing seems to be going according to plan, there is no reason to worry. Cat Spirit loves to mix it up, and these seeming upsets will actually bring you some wondrous and unexpected opportunities. Get ready to pounce on something new, as you may be called to jump into something different at a moment's notice. At this time, your instincts are keen and your intuition is sharp. Remember, even a temporary failure can lead to a spectacular success. So embrace the adventure. You are sure-footed and can trust yourself. I do like that. I think that's probably where I was like maybe missing the part of the point, is like it's all about trusting yourself and self-belief. Okay, let's take a look at the tarot cards. Oh, I forgot about these. We'll do these ones first. You've got solstice with focus, transition, and amplification. Yeah, so this is like revving up energy. This is a revving up card by itself, and Kamiel coming through is not watering it down. It's all very much about specifically you doing something or creating an opportunity or not missing some of the good stuff that comes with the challenges. So I do like solstice. We're also coming up to, if you're watching this around when I post, we are coming up to the shift in like what is it? There's Samhain and the other one. So where I am in Southern Hemisphere, we're going into autumn, or in autumn now, and in the Northern Hemisphere, you're moving into your spring. You got transits, insight, movement, and change. That's really interesting. There's a lot of planets transiting zodiac signs, and even dwarf planets out there that have like 700 and something year cycles, right? Like in a particular zodiac, they're moving as well. There's a lot of different movements. We've recently just moved from, if you go by Western astrology, from what was it? Pluto is now, I would say, more officially moved into Aquarius from Capricorn. And I think it does dip back in a little bit in a couple of months, but essentially it is now set. And that can have different meanings and different things for if you find an astrologer who can explain all that. But it's interesting anyway, and there's lots of different transits. So you can jump in with this energy of change, right? If a planet can mosey around in one star sign for a long time and then shift, or like a dwarf planet, or like, the outer planets, you can as well. You have that possibility too. Why not? So you've got 5th house, fun, hobbies, creativity. I think that will help you identify what this may be about. It also highlights Leo. This is all very independent, very like you based. So the spotlight's on you. This isn't about other people at all. This is all about you. Got the King of Cups. Really nice. I do like this with the singing bowl, with the vibrations that it's playing out. And this is a good point. It's like you attract what you send out. If you're sending out toxic energy, you're probably going to attract toxic energy, or you might actually even attract positive energy to help kind of balance it. And that can be really difficult and challenging, because whether you're on the toxic side or the positive side, you'll know if you're in positive energy and being around toxic, it can kind of shift and you have to kind of like dance around it or move around it, and it's not fun sometimes. It's just like, what's the point in this? So, but it can help, and then take separate ways, because you don't want to be sitting in each other's energy too long. It can be a bit hard. But that happens, and we all go through different cycles of being, we're not always 100% always in the light positive energy all the time. We have ups and downs, and that's life. So it's not about judging it, it's just about recognizing truth. Oh, look at that, another cup, little Knight of Cups. Okay, 5 of Wands. Interesting. I don't know if I have anything really to say about these ones. Sometimes this can be a conflict within ourselves too, with the Knight of Wands. 5 of Wands, reaching for a goal. But reaching for a goal, if we're all working together as a team, it just, I don't know, it just feels so much better, right? Because you win as a team. It's fun winning as individuals, especially if it's like friendly competition type stuff. But as a community, or even as a global entity, let's say, as like Earth, us, everything inside, around, in the atmosphere, it's like we all have this one home at this moment in time anyway. And if we're all trying to work towards a goal of keeping peace, like living a peaceful life, because I feel like as humans, we do actually just want peaceful life, right? We just want no fighting, no wars, no arguments, no disagreements, let's say. I mean, debates and stuff, sure. But, we don't want to be out there killing each other. I hope not anyway. Otherwise, there's definitely wars you can go off into if you feel like that. But, I feel like we really just want peace and happiness, essentially, and love and, you know, all that stuff. So why do we not always go for that? And it could be because there's an opportunity to get more of something off someone and that kind of thing. And that's what happens. It's a whole bunch of people that work on behalf of like a particular entity, whether that's a government, country, or workplace. And so we are all working together. We may as well, if we're all working together, we may as well be in agreement with the goals of that individual or company or whatever, or country, right? Otherwise, we can find our own path. This does feel like doing what you love as well, because I was like, these two match somehow, and I was like, I don't understand. But now I've kind of got it. The Knight of Cups, usually someone who's very passionate, loving, can be, you know, in love with the idea of love, but not actually understand it. But I feel like with these two coming through, it's like spotlighting what you enjoy and what you love in life. This is also, I believe, you know, cups are water, but the knights are fire. So it's like water and fire, and we've got Leo here. So it's like passion, right? There's also creativity and passion here. What are you passionate about? What do you want to do that gives you vibrancy? There's a lot of like toxic energy that is either whirling around or needing to be channeled or transmuted at this moment. So you're doing a lot of work, I feel. If you're feeling really drained for no reason, that may be why. That may be why. Ask yourself, like, check in with yourself as well. Ask yourself questions, check in with yourself. It's interesting with this card coming through, the Five of Pentacles, because this panda is like, I don't know, it feels like she's alone in a enclosure, or alone in, not, you know, out of her environment, right? Because the interesting thing is normally we want to be inside, but we're outside. Like the traditional Five of Pentacles, really, those people are outside, crippled, just destitute, I think is the word, and they are kind of wanting support from inside, which was the church. And on this one, this panda just wants to be back out in nature, back to where it can be, you know, free to go, I don't know, eat bamboo, you know, do whatever pandas do in nature. So there's like this idea of like missing a particular environment. This could play into many different things. One part that's coming up is like feeling disconnected from Earth, right? Not feeling like this is your home planet or anything like that. And I think a lot of starseeds will come through and be like, yeah, that's me. And of course that is, but you came here for a reason and you picked to come here. So you may as well do what you need to do, so then you can go back and do what, you know, do what you need to do here. Doesn't mean it's anything massive, you know, to make huge changes. Sometimes changing dynamics in family, not taking on toxic traits that have gone through a generation, cutting the cords or ties in that kind of aspect. So you also have the Seven of Swords coming through. And the Four of Pentacles. So these ones down here are really telling of the, I guess, the mental challenge gymnastics that you might do to stay in a particular way or be a particular way or anything like that. Look, I feel like at the core or the heart of it, you do want something fun, something good, like a happy experience or a peaceful experience in this lifetime, right? It just takes effort and the challenge of understanding what that looks like. Because if it all revolves around the external, like with the Four here, holding on to what they've got, right? Like this little piglet is sitting on the bags. So it's like, I'm not getting off this. Like, this is mine. I'm staying here because I'm scared of someone else taking something away from me. Or I'll lose what I've worked for, what I've got. But if you're not enjoying the experience, then that's a time to question why and be like, well, am I just missing the point of what I'm experiencing? Or is there something that I'm being more called to? But it's going to take a lot of like letting go. And that's Kali, she'll cut it up. You know, I think people see her as kind of evil or demonic sometimes because she's like drinking, you know, she's snapping necks and drinking blood. And it looks pretty toxic, but really, if you look at the story, she's drinking the blood so it doesn't spill on the earth and taint the earth. She's sacrificing, in a sense, herself by taking in the negative or toxic energy so she can, I don't know, transmute it, I assume, or at least stop it from tainting the planet, tainting the plants, the people in the area. So, you know, and that when you absorb a lot of that negative energy, it can, you know, you can go a bit wild. So that seems to be what's kind of happening. Black Obsidian does the same thing. It's very absorbing. Takes away, I feel like takes away negative energy. It's also like a protector. But you know, take what resonates as always. So you have meditation. Take a moment to connect to source through quiet reflective meditation. Yeah, this reading isn't going to tell you exactly what you need to do or your purpose in life, right? This is finding your purpose. This is finding purpose as an individual or like a soul kind of like journey. It's not a, oh, I can ask this person to tell me what's right for me. You can ask this person and they can give you information, and it's up to you to Lego block that into something that works for you. It might be 20% of it, it might be 1% of it, it might be none of it. But whatever it is, it's up to you to decide what you create. Yeah, it's all about the inner world. So inner worlds, your external world is a reflection of your inner world. Yeah, and you've got meditation and inner worlds. It really is touching on, this is an inside job. This isn't something that externally needs to shift. It's more like this is an internal world job. Once you're on board with what you have decided, that's when you start making it an external world job, right? And not that someone will provide it, but that you start making the changes and the shifts by moving towards the things that you love, taking it in a way that's very like meditation with this card's very like emotionally connected, and it's in a masculine form, which we can assume a lot of the time is like the action or the like rage or the anger or the push. You know, it was the push. And this isn't about pushing. This is about understanding, comprehension, and emotional intelligence, essentially. So, lots of stuff here. I don't know if I necessarily talked about the Seven of Swords, but generally this can be like stealth. Can be about trickery and thievery, right, as well. So this is generally, I would just take this as like really sink into this and look at it, even if some of the stuff is like difficult. Take your time with it. Again, no rush. We're talking about life purpose, unless you know of your passing very soon. I don't believe that this will be necessarily that, but you know what I mean. It's you've got plenty of time to start making the shifts and changes that you want to see. And even if you want to work with Kali, that is obviously optional. Although I will say that things shift a lot with her energy, and it can seem like it's a negative thing, but it's just because everything from the inside has been brought to the outside. You've hoarded a lot of stuff inside you. This is bringing it out and looking at the good, bad, ugly. Okay, I'm going to leave that there because there's a lot to absorb with this one. Take your time to consider all this. Obviously, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Feel free to question anything down in the comments below. Always nice to see people's messages, and I really do appreciate it. But thank you so much for letting me read for you, Pile 2. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, welcome to your reading, Pile 3. So you've chosen Archangel Adnachiel and the Tiger's Eye with Tiger Spirit Rises. Interestingly enough, with Adnachiel, I don't know too much about this Archangel. But from what I do know, this is a protector of people born in November, and also it's about individualism, truth, clarity, and like pretty much taking power back. And that's exactly what I feel with Tiger's Eye as well. It's about focus, and it's about spirit, like putting your spirit in here. I would say that with regards to the reading about finding purpose and meaning in life, this really does feel like it's taking it into your own hands and not being told what that is. It's about uncovering it, right? It's about finding it, and you might be like, yeah, but what is it? Experience. Go and do something that you've wanted to do for a while, or buy that thing that you've wanted for a while. Even if it turns out you didn't actually really need it or anything like that, at least you'll have some kind of learning and experience from it. It's not about being told though, it's about figuring it out for yourself. So, interesting one to come out first. Yeah, this is all about freedom. Finding freedom in this lifetime. Don't know how that's going to play out exactly, but we'll have a look at what cards come through to help shed light on that. Interestingly enough, now that I've done a few readings and this is the last pile, it really does feel like I've got into a position of like, this is a very masculine energy kind of like action reading. I didn't say that in the other piles, but I just noticed it now. Because while doing this reading, I feel like okay, I'm gonna take this one. I really just feel like I'm getting into like this like powerful energy of the masculine. If that makes sense. Also, that song playing is called Burn. I don't want to sing it, but you know, it's that I listen to music while I do these readings. It just helps focus, strangely enough. But it's like that one. I'm gonna make it burn, burn, burn. I don't know what else to say. But that's what it is. So this is definitely a fiery energy for sure. I feel like another one wants to kind of come through. I'm going to put this one here. There's a lot of archangels wanting to come through. I mean, I guess this is the pile you chose. You chose the archangel one, so you're going to get a message from them as well about this searching for purpose. See how that comes through. Like, arcs are lovely. They can be very like specific in the way that they deliver messages, of course, I guess is the best way I can put it. Opinionated a little bit, right? Not that humans aren't either, but definitely like, this is the right way, you should do it like this. Okay, getting a lot of cards. Okay, these two want to come through. This pile has a lot of opinions. I'm just going to say that. So it's going to be interesting for me to read this to you. This could be people's like ancestors, angels, guides. It's just a lot of opinions, I feel. You could even see that if you feel that in your life, right? If you feel like a lot of people's opinions impact the way you make decisions, then that could be why this is feeling that way as well. But regardless, oh, whoa, okay, this one wants to come through. It's just a lot. There's just a lot of energy. All right, let's take a look at your cards, pile 3. So you have the porcupine. It says time for a beginner mind. I think that's a good way of setting the pace with this reading, because you don't want to just charge into anything. But time for a beginner mind is not about, you know, stepping backwards. It's not assuming you know everything about everything. You might have a lot of like knowledge, right? And that kind of thing, but you can't learn more if you already feel like you're at the peak. And that's kind of where the porcupine spirit comes through. This isn't a negative card though. This is a part of positive card. It's just saying take a mental step back and just observe, because you might actually learn from observing rather than just doing all the time, right? Or just pushing forward. And it's interesting because that's exactly what I feel like with this card. This is about pushing forward, but this is also about taking a mental step back or something like that. That's the best way I can put it. How I could put that with these two cards just in cohesion would be trying something new, but not going in there with a whole lot of preconceived information that you feel is true. Going in there with just like a complete open mind and learning whatever they say. Does it mean that you take on board everything that they say? Definitely not. You take what resonates as always, but it gives you an opportunity to not go in with like bias, I guess, or assumptions. It's just like being very free. You might still revert back to exactly what you knew is true, but at least you were open enough to hear what information was being said. Okay. So porcupines, interesting, are just very defensive, right? You do not want one in your mouth. They can actually kill, like lions and stuff. They're not like killing as in attacking, they're just being attacked. So the defense mechanisms go in, the hook goes in, and it has like a barb, like a gaff, I guess, like when you're spearing a fish, right? And it gets stuck, and so you can't just like, well, you can rip it out, but it's going to cause like damage. So it's not the nicest, especially if you have a lot. And like I've seen lions and dogs with like a lot going through their face, which is not nice, not great. But anyway, they should have left the porcupine alone. So let's take a look at these cards. So you've got motivation and Saturn. So practical. The Adnachiel feels really practical. Adnachiel always makes me think of like, you know, learnings and wisdom. And it's interesting, she's got a little hourglass. It's like some things do have a set time, right? If you want to do a particular work in life, you might have a set amount of 10 years to be able to go do that. And then if you don't do it, then the door closes. That doesn't mean you can't still learn about it or do it a different way, but maybe that particular subject or experience was only there for those 10 years, and now you can do it, but you can't do it through this company or through this particular teacher because they're past. So you don't have that. You just have maybe some videos and stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of like touching on that. But the motivation is all about go getting and go finding what is important to you, finding meaning, like literally finding meaning. I know it's like, well, that's what this reads about, but that's the whole motivation is getting out of your chair and go doing. But go doing it with like without the assumption of you know everything. Okay, so you also have Sandy coming through, Sandalphon. Really interesting. It's such a funny image of him. It looks very feminine. Sometimes, I will be honest, Sandalphon sometimes comes through very feminine. And then sometimes very masculine. Or I wouldn't say very masculine, but masculine. But generally quite feminine. From what I've seen anyway. So you've got prayer and you've got the symbol of earth. So definitely this is about the physicality of why you're here, but also not focusing on, well, can the above gods kind of tell me or whatever. It's really about how do I implement this and like what do I want from this life. The prayers are being heard. You decide that. Prayer kind of feels like manifestation in a sense, asking for something. But when you're asking, do you know why? Do you know the purpose of this? How are you going to utilize this? What does this feel like? It's all those kind of questions, because that'll help you know that where you're motivated towards is in your highest good or for a meaningful purpose, right? Doesn't mean you have to do something because it's charity. It's doing something because it feels correct to you, regardless of what that is. It's just like that feeling. And I feel like that's part of where this is going. Okay, and you have Kamiel coming through with a lot of fire as well. Mars being highlighted here. And this is restoration. This is about rebuilding. This could really be about taking action on something that was either missed or lost or like not great in life and repurposing it into something better. So it's kind of like buying a house and part of the house was flooded or something, so you destroy it, but you keep the foundations or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like that. That's probably not the best idea, but I guess in like a physical sense, in a personal sense, it could be like going through some trouble in childhood and keeping that wound with you, and now it's time to heal that and transform it and utilize that learning from childhood to help other people or to do a particular work or volunteering that really means something to you because you know what it's like and you don't want these kids to feel like they're alone or something like that, right? It's this it's very much like up to you, obviously. But it's going to inspire passion and fire, and yeah, and really be open to the information that's coming through. Don't assume anything. Just let it be, and then make a decision based off that, and also what you feel is true to you as well. You have the solar eclipse. I know we're coming up to eclipse season from when this video is created. If you're watching it very far in the future, who knows? Maybe you know more than what I will with what happens, obviously. But you got the solar eclipse. This is about creation, intention, and potential. Very much like the new moon, creation, potential, intention. Like very much the being in a position of power and feeling like I can actually make a difference in my own life that may also help others, or whatever your purpose is, right? It's like I can start by choosing to take steps towards this goal. You also have the first house with self, body, and presence. This could be in relation to your ascension, your ascended sign. You might want to have a look at your ascended. It may be important, but this is like, because the ascended signs are where you're headed, essentially. That's like the whole idea in astrology, is like where you're headed, or what goals are maybe coming up, or like what kind of energy to step into. The self node is like the past stuff. It's the comfort zone. This is not the comfort zone. This is the growth zone, let's say. You also have Uranus with revolution, invention, and eccentricity. Yeah, Uranus as a wild card sometimes can be a bit of a like shake up, right? It's the shake up. This isn't necessarily the revolution pile, but this does have that idea of like things are not going to stay the same anymore. I'm going to start moving forward. This is also highlighting Aries in the first house. Okay. And you also have descendant. This is attraction, relationship, and partners. So this could even touch in with whose energy is still around you, whether the person is or not. It's like, is it positive, negative? Sometimes positive energy, like if someone loses their partner and they can feel them around a lot and a lot and a lot, that can stop them from living their life because they still are very much connected. And I'm not saying that's like after a week or something of them passing or anything like that. I'm saying like for a long time. And so sometimes that soul needs to detach and leave so that they can let them continue with their life. And it's difficult, right? It's, I don't know how it works up there, but it can be a challenge. But yeah, again, what you attract is what energy you put out as well. Okay, let's take a look at the tarot cards. So you have the Magician, really nice here. It's all within your potential. You have everything you need to make the changes and shifts forward. There is like this dichotomy of like light and shadow here with these two horses, the black and white horses, and sometimes that can put into like tug of war, and I feel like that may touch in with Mars, right? But sometimes that energy needs to come through. We need to comprehend and understand our shadows, the things that make us crazy, let's say, or go a little bit wild, because then we can better utilize them, work with them, instead of shunning them or shaming them in a sense, because you're shaming an aspect of yourself. But there's progress and movement here with this Chariot as well. And got the Page of Pentacles. This can be about learning and studying. I feel like this is experiencing life as well, with this feminine figure standing on, I'm not sure what she's standing on, but some kind of like symbolic type thing, but out in nature, right? It's like going out to experience. It's going into the world in some form to experience it. And that may be part of your whole purpose, was just to come here to experience what it's like to be a human. The page can also be about planting seeds as well for the future. I feel like that's part of it. Very similar to the 7, but not with that like expectation of now. It's just like the things that you've done will always lead to where you are. And sometimes the reflection is okay to look back on, not to relive, but just to see the progress you've made and the good things that you've done in this life. King of Wands. I do like that coming through. It's got that like high passion energy, right? This idea of like, I'm capable of doing what I need to do to get what I want. And also there's a salamander in the background, which is in tarot is like a sign of protection. And it's like, it kind of feels like it's stepping out of this defensive energy into a protective energy. And you'll think, well, what's the difference? I feel like the defense is like knowing something is going to attack you. So you like huddle in and have all your defenses up and on alert. But when you feel just natural protection, you know that no matter what you get into, it's not going to harm you or hurt you. Well, look at that, King and Knight. So more masculine energy coming through. Got the Knight of Wands as well. This again, passion, focus, direction, drive. It's all coming through here, very fiery. And then you've got the Five of Pentacles as well. This one is always such an interesting one. Just the dichotomy or the blend of internal, external, right? Because in traditional, it's those people who have like disabilities outside in the snow that want to, I assume, want to get into the church. And then here, this is like a panda that's stuck in an enclosure that just wants to get back into nature. So there is like an idea of getting back into nature here as well with this Five of Pentacles. It's like if you're unhappy in your environment, what changes do you feel are going to bring in the positive energy? I've noticed, especially visiting family and people recently, that a lot of what they think they want, like certain items or $1,000 this and that, will bring them the happiness that they think they want. That's just it's like a lollipop, right? It's like, I just want something sweet to tie me over. It's like, this will tie you over, but it's not going to nourish you and fulfill you, or fill you rather. You have to eventually get into a point of like, why do I feel like I need this? What am I missing, or what am I not experiencing that I feel like I should experience in this life? So finding purpose is definitely about taking a step back or taking a sit down to like consider some of the stuff, and then making your headway forward, because you're able to progress quite strongly with something that's more, that you feel more passionate about, or that's more like wild to you, not so predictable. So you have vision. It says, trust your ability to create the vision in your soul. That's pretty much essentially exactly what I was talking about. It's like trusting self so you can get the things you have. I feel like you have the, I don't know if you have the resources, let's say, who knows, but you definitely have the power, encouragement, I don't know what to say, like the passion, the creativity to really make headway on a particular part of your soul's journey or soul's purpose. There is like an aspect of not needing to be defensive, but to know that you're already protected. So no matter what you do, you'll be able to find a way of having enough of what you need to be able to do what you want to do. I do like here the motivation is definitely, it can be a tricky one, right? Especially if we've been turned down or pushed away from a certain goal. But you know, this is all about motivating ourselves to continue. Maybe those things weren't going to lead us to where we needed to be, so I'll keep going and make sure I find the thing that's going to keep me happy, or help me find fulfillment in life, is the best way I can put it. This Archangel also represents Sagittarius. There was something coming up with that as well, and that kind of reminded me when now that I look at this card, just that passion, right, and focus. Like it's a particular focus and a drive, but you have everything you need here. With the Magician, you're able to maybe not have everything you need right now, but be able to move forward while creating what you need to keep going. So it's like that person who has enough to be able to get what they want. And then we come back. I know I've already talked about this, but just I think this is the perfect summary of your reading, Pile 3. It's like, trust your ability to create your vision, the vision in your soul. Yeah, you have it within you. It just needs to come out, and that's basically it. Expressing yourself fully in a creative sense is where this is coming through. So however you do that is up to you, whether that's public speaking, whether that's creating artwork, whether that's looking after animals, maybe that's just having a pet in the house, you know, whatever it is. It's not about judgment of like how big or small things are. It's like, what's more important to you? A big thing for me would be like going off and somehow becoming like prime minister or whatever. Absolutely do not want to do that. But you know, just because that's a big thing doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. So find what's right for you and maybe be a little bit crazy about it and do something a little bit interesting, because invention is about finding something that helps others or helps yourself, that hasn't been created, right? It's something new and you've got the vision. So go forward with your wild little ride. Right. I'm going to leave that there. So I hope that's helped you. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, Pile 3. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time in the next reading.